How can we say that Christianity is the only true religion? Well, let me start by telling you a Hindu story. It's said that there was a king who gathered a few men who were born blind, and they were asked to describe an elephant. So these men came in, but they were only shown or given one part of the elephant. So one guy came in and he was given the head to kind of look at, somebody else was given the ear to touch, somebody else the leg, somebody else the tail, so on and so on. Then they were asked to describe the elephant. Well, the guy who got the head said, well, the elephant's like a pot. And the guy who had the ear said, no, the elephant, it's like a fan. And the guy who had the tail said, no, the elephant's like a rope. And the guy who had the leg said, no, the elephant's like a pillar or a tree. And they would argue with each other, sort of saying that, oh, I'm right and everybody else is wrong. And the obvious truth here, though, of course, is that there is much more to the elephant than that way they are experiencing. Now, it's a famous story that sums up people's attitude towards organised religion, that there are all these different types of religion and we all have these different things that we can contribute. Sounds very respectful, doesn't it? I mean, there are over 4,000 religions today, and to say that they all have something to contribute is important. This is called the study of comparative religion. Although I do want to say, I think some of them may not want to contribute. We don't want to contribute too much to them. One of my favourite cults is the Freedomite cult, or the Sons of Freedom. These guys are a nudist, arsonist, anarchist cult in Canada, and they go around blowing things up in the nude. I'm just thinking Canada's probably not the best place to be doing that, but they're free to do that. That's why they're the Sons of Freedom. But for others, we do kind of have this sense of, if we compare us all together, perhaps there are things that we have in common. Like I said, this is the study of comparative religion. But Christianity doesn't quite fit into this. Even those who study comparative religion acknowledge this. Here's what one guy said. The teaching of the Hindu tale of the blind men who tried to describe the elephant is valid only for the multitude of pantheistic religions. They're all heading towards the same impersonal ultimate reality using similar means. However, monotheistic religions reject this view and therefore cannot be included in the picture. Christianity cannot be used as an ingredient in order to produce a homogeneous mixture with other religions, according to the demands of religious syncretism. See, the problem with the Hindu elephant story is that to get the joke, at least one person has to be able to see. But the problem is, with comparative religion, is it's claiming we're all blind. None of us can truly see the elephant. But what if someone could see the elephant? What if someone knew what the elephant looked like? That is exactly what Jesus is claiming in the Bible. He is claiming that he is the one who understands the truth. I mean, you consider, let's look at one of the claims of Jesus. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you'd really known me, you would know my Father as well. And from now on, you do know him and you have seen him. Philip said, Lord, show us the Father and that'll be enough for us. And Jesus answered, don't you know me, Philip, after I have been among you such a long time? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? It's from John chapter 14. But do you notice the things that Jesus is saying here? Firstly, he says, it's not just that I know the way to God. He's saying, I am the only way to God. By doing this, he's basically saying everybody else is wrong. I'm the only way that you can do this. And when Philip says, can you show us God? He says, I am God. If you want to see God, see me. Now, that is an incredible claim. I mean, you've got to ask, is he lying? Is he got some sort of weird mental illness? Is this legit? Well, let me go to another story of Jesus. This is from Mark chapter 2. A few days later, when Jesus was again gathered in Capernaum, people heard that he'd come, and they gathered in such large numbers that there was no room left, not even outside the house, and he preached the word to them. Some men came, bringing to him a paralyzed man carried by 4 of them. Since they could not get to him, Jesus to Jesus because of the crowd, they made an opening in the roof above Jesus by digging a hole in it and lowering the mat the man was lying on. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralyzed man, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now, some of the teachers of the law were sitting there thinking to themselves, "Why does this fellow talk like that? He's blaspheming. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" Immediately, Jesus knew in his spirit that this is what they were thinking in their hearts, and he said to them, "Why were you thinking these things? Which is easier, to say to a paralyzed man, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up, take your mat and walk'? But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins." So he said to the man, "I tell you, take up your mat and go home." He got up. He took his mat and he walked out in full view of them all. This amazed everyone, and they praised God, saying, "We've never seen anything like this." Now, when the man comes before Jesus, Jesus tells him, "Your sins are forgiven." I imagine his friends are saying, "Jesus, actually, his legs don't work. We would like you to do something about that." But what Jesus is saying is, "I want to help you. And so I'm going to tell you that I'm going to forgive your sins." But of course, just saying those words are easy. I can say, "Your sins are forgiven." I can also say, "I am God." Neither of these things make me God. I mean, it doesn't mean that your sins are forgiven just because I say that. That's the point that the teachers of the law are saying. You can't just say that. That's ridiculous. But Jesus doesn't just say the words. He shows them that he is God. Because he then turns around to the man and says, "Okay, take up your mat, get up, and walk out. I'm going to miraculously heal you." Something that only God could possibly do. In the Gospels, we see a number of the things that Jesus taught, but we also see a number of the things that Jesus does. And often those things are meant to point us to understand that Jesus is God who has come to earth. Or as one of Jesus' followers put it this way, "No one has ever seen God, but the one and only Son, who is himself God and is in the closest relationship to the Father, has made him known." What he's saying is, there is someone who's seen the elephant, someone who can explain the elephant, and that person is Jesus. That's why we can't fit Christianity in with all the other religions. This just means it's either true or it's not true. In fact, that's the thing that having a whole bunch of religions forces us to do. We are forced to make a choice between, is Jesus true or is something else? Is there someone else out there? We need to look at Jesus to find this out. He can't be true along with everybody else. It's either him or it is something else. But that's the decision you need to make. You need to look at Jesus and ask that question. And for me, it is a great question of the resurrection. Did Jesus really rise from the dead or did he not? If he didn't, well, there's something else is true. He can't be true. But if he did, it means that he is who he says he is, that he is God, that he is the one who has come to tell us what the elephant is, that he is the one who should be worshipped as the one who is our one true God.